भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 19th chapter, the appearance of Shukdev Goswami. Text number 4 onwards. Sachintayan ithamatha shunnodyatha mune sutokto nirritistakshakya sasadhu mene nachiren pakshakan alam prasaktasya virakti karanam. While the king was thus repenting, he received news of his imminent death, which would be due to the bite of a snake bird, occasioned by the curse spoken by the sage's son. The king accepted this as good news, for it would be the cause of his indifference towards worldly things. So King Maharaja Parikshit, he was repenting earlier about why he put this snake around, dead snake around the sage's neck. How could he do that? And he was repenting, and while repenting, because Shamik Rishi sent a messenger to him to inform him that the Shringi, he has cursed the king, and now it's up to the king, whatever he wants to do. So king received the news. And the shloka says, the king accepted this as good news. I mean, normally, how many of us will receive the news of a death as good news? Many times people have cancer and doctor tell them, oh, you have only 6 months to live, or whatever, 3 months to live. So how many of us would really, accept it? Oh, it's a good news that I'm going to die. Not many. Not any, in fact. And not only that, we'll see what King Parikshit did. And suppose we get the news, okay, you're going to die in whatever, 1 month or 1 week or whatever. Now, what is the thing, even if we are sad or happy, that's different story. What is it that we will do? That's what we have to be prepared for. What is it that will be the most urgent thing for us to take care of? We might try to make a will, or we might say, oh, let me go for tour of India or whatever. I want to do that or this or that. But look at what King Maharaj Parikshit did. He sat down to listen to Bhagavatam, and with full concentration. If suppose we get the message that we'll die, you think we will be able to concentrate that much on chanting or Bhagavatam or anything? We would be so worried what is going to happen after me. Although we have no control over what is going to happen after me or even during me, we would be so much worried. इस बच्चे का क्या होगा और हस्बैंड का क्या होगा और वाइफ का क्या होगा, पेरेंट्स का क्या होगा, प्रॉपर्टी का क्या होगा. This is how, this is what Bhagavatam teaches us actually. How to leave the body. In what consciousness we have to leave the body. Purport. Real happiness is achieved by spiritual existence or by cessation of the repetition of birth and death. One can stop the repetition of birth and death only by going back to Godhead. In the material world, even by attaining the topmost planet, Brahmaloka, one cannot get rid of the conditions of repeated birth and death. But still, we do not accept the path of attaining perfection. The path of perfection frees one from all material attachments, and thus one becomes fit to enter into the spiritual kingdom. Therefore, those who are materially poverty stricken are better candidates than those who are materially prosperous. Hmm. The path of perfection frees one from all material attachments, and thus one becomes fit to enter into the spiritual kingdom. Therefore, those who are materially poverty stricken are better candidates than those who are materially prosperous. Because at the time of death, everything will be taken away anyway. So we have to get rid of all the attachments. But those who don't have anything materially, chances are they won't be attached because they don't have anything. That's why it is the real test is not when Krishna takes away everything. Real test will be when he gives everything. Now, whether we remember him or not. Maharaj Parikshit was a great devotee of the Lord and a bona fide candidate for entering into the kingdom of God. But even though he was so, his material assets as the emperor of the world were setbacks to perfect attainment of his rightful status as one of the associates of the Lord in the spiritual sky. As a devotee of the Lord, he could understand that the cursing of the Brahmin boy, although unwise, was a blessing upon him, being the cause of detachment from worldly affairs, both political and social. So he says, "Oh, this is the best thing to happen because this led to his complete detachment." Shamik Muni also, after regretting the incident, conveyed the news to the king as a matter of duty, so that the king would be able to prepare himself to go back to Godhead. Shamik Muni sent news to the king that foolish Shringi, his son, although a powerful Brahmin boy, unfortunately had misused his spiritual power by cursing the king unwarrantedly. The incident of the king's garlanding the Muni was not sufficient cause for him for being cursed to death. But since there was no way to retract the curse, the king was informed to prepare for death within a week. Both Shamik Muni and the king were self-realized souls. Shamik Muni was a mystic and Maharaj Parikshit was a devotee. Therefore, there was no difference between them in self-realization. Neither of them was afraid of meeting death. Maharaj Parikshit could have gone to the Muni to beg his pardon, but the news of imminent death was conveyed to the king with so much regret by the Muni that the king did not want to shame the Muni further by his presence there. So Shamik Rishi was already regretting that his son had cursed Maharaj Parikshit. So Maharaj Parikshit thought it's not proper for me to go and, and make him more ashamed of all these curses. He decided to prepare himself for his imminent death and find out the way to go back to Godhead. And see, because Parikshit Maharaj, now look at his character, he did not, first he repented, first he was very repentful or very ashamed of what he did. And then he, of course, he was a devotee of the Lord. Krishna himself protected him in the womb of Mother Uttara. And after this incident, he did not lose his composure. He went to look for the right answers. So then, if the person is ready, Krishna will send the right guru. That's when he is really ready, really desperate. Then Krishna sends the right guru at the right time. Means the disciple has to be ready. If we are not ready, even if Sat Guru comes, even topmost Guru comes, we will not receive him or we will not take to his instructions properly. Just like when Arjuna was ready, of course Krishna himself was there, but Krishna himself, although he was there, but he did not start speaking until Arjuna surrendered to him. until Arjun became really perfect in absorbing, in receiving what Krishna is going to say, Krishna didn't start speaking. And here Parikshit Maharaj, until he really got ready, completely uh, perfect candidate for receiving the knowledge, Shukdev Goswami didn't come. Just like when we will read further on about the case of Dhruv Maharaj. Dhruv Maharaj, when he was really ready, fixed up, determined, desperate, right at that time, Narad Muni showed up and he gave him the instruction. So it's not that the guru has to just come, even if we are not ready. We all complain about guru this, I didn't get the guru, I didn't get the guru. Why? Because we are not ready. That's why guru will not come. And to whatever extent we are ready, we'll get that kind of guru. That's what Prabhupada wrote so many times. Because we want to cheat, we get a cheater guru. Or we got a cheater as a guru. Guru cannot be cheater, but we get a cheater as a guru. Because we want to cheat. It's in our heart. It's in our consciousness. So we have to prepare ourselves. That desperateness, that eagerness to surrender, eagerness to know, Krishna, how am I going to achieve you? When it is there in the heart, Krishna will send the Guru. Krishna is sitting in everybody's heart as Paramatma, as Chaitya Guru, as Guru within, and he will send the Guru without also. He will make the arrangement. For sure he will. But we have to be ready. The life of a human being is a chance to prepare oneself to go back to Godhead, or to get rid of the material existence, the repetition of birth and death. Thus, in the system of Varnashram Dharma, every man and woman is trained for this purpose. In other words, the system of Varnashram Dharma is known also as Sanatana Dharma, or the eternal occupation. The system of Varnashram Dharma prepares a man for going back to Godhead, and thus a householder is ordered to go to forest as Vanprastha to acquire complete knowledge, and then to take sannyas prior to his inevitable death. Parikshit Maharaj was fortunate to get a 7 days' notice to meet his inevitable death. But for the common man, there is no definite notice, although death is inevitable for all. Foolish men forget the sure fact of death and neglect the duty of preparing themselves for going back to God. So although we get the notice all the time, just like one person, he was like about to die, Yamdutas had already come, and he asked them, I mean, you guys should have sent some notice. I should have gotten some notice that you guys are coming, otherwise I could have prepared myself. Yamduta said, we sent you lots of notices. Man said, how did you send them? When did you send the notice? I didn't get any. They said, your hair started turning gray. That was first notice. You started losing your eyesight. You started losing your hearing power. And all the body problems started happening. Your teeth were starting losing. Skin was getting wrinkly. These are notices from us. It's time. But our problem is we don't take those notices seriously. We think I still have 50, 60, maybe more years to live. Actually, there is hardly any time. Even if the hair are not getting white, gray, or we are not getting wrinkly skin, this is Kali Yuga. Anybody can leave the body anytime. Earlier day and ages, people would live a long time. But now, there is no certainty. So everybody has to be on high alert for this part. So foolish men forget the sure fact of death and neglect the duty of preparing themselves for going back to God. They spoil their lives in animal propensities to eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy. Such an irresponsible life is adopted by the people in the age of Kali because of a sinful desire to condemn Brahminical culture, God consciousness, and cow protection, for which the state is responsible. The state must employ revenue to advance these three items and thus educate the populace to prepare for death. The state, the state which does so is the real welfare state. The state of India should better follow the examples of Maharaja Parikshit, the ideal executive head, than to imitate other materialistic states which have no idea of the kingdom of Godhead, the ultimate goal of human life. Deterioration of the ideals of Indian civilization has brought about the deterioration of civic life, not only in India but also abroad. See, again, Prabhupada, once earlier also Prabhupada wrote in his purport that it is a fault of Indians actually, that there is chaos, there are problems all over the world. Because Indians are supposed to have this knowledge of scriptures, Vedic scriptures, and they're supposed to disseminate this knowledge, give the knowledge to others, so everybody could follow. So that's why many times people say, oh, ISKCON people, you are very pessimistic. Because you always talk about death, death, death. See, problems, this kalesha, that kalesha, or birth, death, old age, disease. Well, this is not being pessimistic. This is being realistic, actually. This is going to happen with everybody. Whether we like it or not, whether we want to talk about it or not, whether we want to admit or not, it is going to happen. That's why, if you remember, I think yesterday or day before, I posted this thing, Prabhupada's conversation with one of his devotees. And she said, oh, my daughter, she's going to die. And Prabhupada, instead of saying, oh, it's okay. Prabhupada shouted, everybody's going to die. We all are going to die. Of course, we all need some consolation sometime, but this is a fact. We have to accept it. And not just accept it like in a grave way, but accept it. Now I have to prepare. Let me prepare for the next life. At least, even if we don't go back home, back to God, at least let us prepare ourselves to a point that we take birth in a Vaishnava family. So we can start off where we left from the very beginning. At least let's get to this point, if not more. Text 5. Atho vihayem amamum chalokam vimarshito heyatya purastat krishnangri sevam adhimanyamana upavishat prayam martya nadyam. Maharaj Parikshit sat down firmly on the banks of the Ganges to concentrate his mind in Krishna consciousness, rejecting all other practices of self-realization, because transcendental loving service to Krishna is the greatest achievement, superseding all other methods. For a devotee like Maharaj Parikshit, none of the material planets, even the topmost Brahmloka, is as desirable as Golok Vrindavan, the abode of Lord Shri Krishna, the primeval Lord and original personality of Godhead. This earth is one of the innumerable material planets within the universe, and there are innumerable universes also within the compass of the Mahatattva. The devotees are told by the Lord and his representatives, the spiritual masters or acharyas, that not one of the planets within all the innumerable universes is suitable for the residential purposes of a devotee. So not even a single planet among all the innumerable planets in the universe and among all the innumerable universes is suitable for a devotee to live in. The devotee always desires to go back to God, just to become one of the associates of the Lord in the capacity of a servitor, friend, parent, or conjugal lover of the Lord, either in one of the innumerable Vaikuntha planets or in Golok Vrindavan, the planet of Lord Shri Krishna. And see, Prabhupada here is writing in the capacity of servitor, means Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, or Madhurya. He doesn't even consider Shant Ras as the Ras we want to be in. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't consider Shant Ras as something very desirable. All these planets are eternally situated in the spiritual sky, the Paravyoma, which is on the other side of the causal ocean within the Mahatattva. Maharaj Parikshit was already aware of all this information due to his accumulated piety and birth in a high family of devotees, Vaishnavas, and thus he was not at all interested in the material planets. Modern scientists are very eager to reach the moon by material arrangements, but they cannot conceive of the highest planet of this universe. Means highest planet is Brahmaloka. The modern scientists cannot even conceive of that planet. Forget about reaching, trying to go there. But a devotee like Maharaj Parikshit does not care a fig for the moon or, for that matter, any of the material planets. So when he was assured of his death on a fixed date, he became more determined in the transcendental loving service of Lord Shri Krishna by complete fasting on the bank of the transcendental river Yamuna, which flows down by the capital of Hastinapur in Delhi state. Both the Ganges and the Yamuna are Amartya, transcendental rivers, and Yamuna is still more sanctified for the following reasons. Okay, in the shloka, in the translation, the river, it's called Ganges. Maharaj Parikshit sat down firmly on the banks of the Ganges. Why? Because in the shloka it says Krishnangri, the lotus feet of Krishna. Remember? Okay, Amartya Nadyam, on the bank of transcendental river. Okay, in the word-to-word meaning it says the Ganges or the Yamuna, but in translation Prabhupada writes on Ganges. But in the purport he says Yamuna. So it's a kind of a confusion, but no, actually Prabhupada explains it later on. In one of the purports, I don't know where, maybe here or some other purports he explained. And this is what I had told the story at Shukratal. At Shukratal, when we went, which river was flowing there? Ganges or Yamuna? It was Ganga, no? Or Yamuna?
It was Ganga.
It was told it was Ganges, Prabhuji.
It was Ganges.
Yeah.
Huh? So it was Ganga, but here Prabhupada says he sat down on the bank of transcendental river Yamuna, which flows down by the capital of Hastinapur in Delhi state. But then he says both the Ganges and Yamuna are Amartya, because it says Amartya Nadyam in the shloka. Although Jiva Goswami says that it was Yamuna where he sat down. Why? Because of this pastime of Balramji, when he, with his plow, he dragged whole Hastinapur and he wanted to drown it in Yamuna. In the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, we'll read that pastime. Where this pastime comes, when he got angry with all these warriors of Hastinapur, and he came from Dwarka, and he put his plow down in Hastinapur, and he dragged, actually he started dragging, and he wanted to just take it to Yamuna and drown the whole Hastinapur. So that's what Jiva Goswami says. It has to be Yamuna, not Ganga. But when we went to Shukratal, it was Ganga. In the shloka, Prabhupada says Ganga. But in the purport, it says Yamuna. But anyway, this is transcendental confusion. We'll never be able to figure it out. So anyway, we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you were discussing the Shantras is not recommended. Can you please explain? Abhi thoda.
What's that? What's that?
Shantras is not recommended, you know.
Oh, yeah, Shantras. See, because there is no reciprocation with Krishna.
Okay.
There is no service. Of course, they do the service in their way, but there is no reciprocation. Shantras, who is in Shantras? Just like flute, trees, grass, animals, they are in Shantras with Krishna.
Okay.
So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't give much importance to that. So that's why Prabhupada didn't mention that.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Any other question or comments? Okay, so I guess we can stop here. You all have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Yeah, one more thing. Everybody, please prepare for Yatra on November 17th. It's the last weekend of Kartik, so you should make full use of it. Please let Radha Prabhu and all of the devotees who are arranging the program know of your availability, and bring your family members, friends. Kartik is very auspicious time to go to Vrindavan. At least once you should go in Kartik. And along with devotees, it's more fun. You get to hear lots of katha and kirtan and darshan and prasadam. It's always fun.
Yeah,
So please, everybody try to go.
yes,
Archana Mataji, please come.
Oh,
Archana Mata is coming. I am sure she's coming.
Prabhuji, there is a
So there is
confusion.
no question. Mati Prabhu should